Court will note the appearance of Mr. Schaefer on behalf of plaintiff and Ms. Capture on behalf of the defendant. This matter is before the court on the defendant's motion for relief from judgment. Ms. Capture.
Thank you, Judge. As we stated in our motion, Mr. Murphy entered into this agreement on the understanding that Ms. Taft was terminally ill, and based on her representations to Mr. Murphy would be dying within the year. The agreements that he agreed to essentially are unconscionable, especially given the fact that there is a massive divide between Mr. Murphy and the children now. He doesn't have the parenting time that he would have wanted, but obviously gave more parenting time to Ms. Taft given her assertion that she was dying. He wanted to keep things as even for her. Even isn't the correct word, but essentially he wanted to make sure that she would have a decent rest of her life. So they didn't divide the business. A lot of the things that they kept around, like the country club dues, the tickets for the baseball and football or basketball and football games. Essentially, he agreed to this under the understanding that she was going to be passing. If she's not, and he has tried to communicate with her and say, hey, what's actually going on? Because I'm being told that you aren't terminally ill, and that you induced me into agreeing to this agreement under a false allegation. So essentially, Your Honor, what we're asking for is an evidentiary hearing so we can put proofs on the record to say Mr. Murphy did enter into this agreement under duress, that he believed false information presented by Ms. Taft. Even within his pro-con, he stated, and I'm not going to quote this directly, but he stated an understanding that he was entering into this agreement due to her terminal illness. Without counsel, without representation, and simply signed the dotted line due to the misrepresentations that she placed to him. So, Your Honor, we're looking for an evidentiary hearing to prove that misconduct did occur, and then to move forward with this matter. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Schaefer?
Your Honor, we have filed an extensive answer. Number one, we submit that this is an improper motion for a number of reasons. Number one, the allegations alleged that my client said are not true. Next one is that pretty that it's under duress, pressured based on the allegations therein. Number three, this was filed because my client hasn't died yet. Well, they didn't even give her a year. It's February 29th. I represent to this court melanoma. It's in remission at the present time, and to suggest that there's something inequitable about this. What is improper on this is that counsel for the other side signed these pleadings knowing that the business was owned by both of the parties. We have submitted evidence of that, and this was filed just before there is a oppression suit that is going to be filed in relation to the division of the business. Is asking for costs and sanctions in that regard because both the client and the attorney signed pleadings knowing that there's a 50-50 ownership in the business. My client has never used her melanoma in any way to affect judgment. It was a choice by a defendant not to be represented. He had been represented around this matter and chose not to. That was his decision. Now he is crying sour grapes. His allegation about the children, his relationship with the children at the time was poor at best and did not exercise his parent time at this time. We submit that this motion is unfounded in fact and law, should be dismissed, and that costs should be assessed in relation to the improper pleadings.
Thank you. Anything else, Ms. Capture?
Your Honor, the pleadings aren't improper. Again, this is not so much about the allegations that this is a jointly owned business. We admit in our motion that there's a marital interest in this. Again, Your Honor, this is simply about the misrepresentation by Ms. Taft that she's terminally ill. She induced my client into signing a divorce decree to get this settled so that she could live in peace the last time, however long it was going to be. Mr. Murphy has requested on numerous occasions, can you just communicate with me about what's going on? And she refuses to. And now he is being told by her numerous friends and family that she is not in fact terminally ill, nor was she ever terminally ill, and that he agreed to this under the misrepresentation that she was. Again, Your Honor, we state in our motion specifically that we are just simply asking to have all of this resolved. However, Ms. Taft will not communicate. And if she is going to continue living, which is great, good for her, we want her to be in remission, we want her to be healthy. But if she's going to continue, obviously the marital property needs to be divided appropriately, including the business. That's not to say that we saying, well, we shouldn't ever divide the property. We simply need an answer, and we need the correct answer, not a lie. If she's going to be passing on, well, then let's get that resolved, and we would withdraw our motion. But obviously she's in remission, allegedly. So then she obviously didn't have terminally ill melanoma like she represented to my client.
Well, in this matter, the court does note that fraud has been alleged, but as I go through the pleadings here, the argument, there's been very little factual basis for the allegations. I don't believe that in this matter, the defendant has set forth a prima facie case for the court to again intervene at this time. And so the court believes that if the defendant can develop those particular facts, then the defendant can file an amended motion in this matter. But at this point, the court doesn't believe that there's a factual basis in this matter other than a he said, she said. And as a result, the court will deny the motion at this time. And the court doesn't believe there's a basis for award of costs or fees. So it will deny that request by both parties and ask Mr. Schaefer, you prepare the order denying the motion.
I will, Your Honor. Thank you.
You're free to go. Have a good day.
Thank you, Judge.